2 videos in one day. Who am I? Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's me again, Fola. This is my second video that I'm filming today. And this one, I didn't even know I had to make a video about this topic because I feel like I've talked about this topic 1 billion times. But this year alone, it's just April. I've gotten at least 3 people asking me, can I work more than 20 hours in a week? What happens if I work more than 20 hours in a week? Will the government find out if I work more than 20 hours in a week? I'm like, girlfriends, what is happening? No, as an international student, you already know during school term, you cannot work more than 20 hours in a week. I have said it before, but today I'm going to read it out of Canada's website by themselves, and I'm going to leave the link in the description box so you can read it yourself. So let's get into Canada's website and see what they say about international students working during school hours. Let's go. So it says here, work off campus as an international student. The first thing it says is, you and your employer must make sure that you can work off campus without a work permit before you start working. If you start working off campus but you don't meet the requirement, you may have to leave Canada. When they talk about without a work permit, they mean work permit that is not tied to your study permit. When you come into Canada, you get a study permit and a work permit, but the work permit is tied to your study permit, which means once you lose that study permit, you lose that studying situation, that work permit is not valid anymore. So that's what this one means. The next paragraph says you can only start working in Canada when your study program has started. You cannot work before you start your studies. A lot of people do this. They get their visas by April or May. School doesn't start until August, and their thought is, let me come to Canada now so I can work from May till August. No, you cannot do that. At least that is what Canada said. You cannot do that. And the next one is eligibility requirements. You can work off campus without a work permit if you meet all of these requirements, all of them. You're a full-time student at a DLI. DLI is Designated Learning Institution. You are enrolled in a post-secondary academic, vocational, or training program. Your study program is at least 6 months long and it leads to a degree, diploma, or certificate. 8 months diploma, good, because it's more than 6 months. You have started studying just with the last one. You have to have started your first day of class before you can start working in Canada. And you have a social insurance number. Those are the eligibility for you to work in Canada. If you're a part-time student, there's also that for you, but I'm not going to read it because a lot of people who come into Canada are full-time students. If you are on an authorized leave, so I'm going to make another video for authorized leave. Authorized leave is when you tell your school, this is what is going on in my life. Maybe I can afford my tuition. I am going into a mental crisis. Something is happening in my life. I need a break. Give me 4 months break. Give me the break this term. That means your school is authorizing that leave. So if you're on this kind of leave, if you're on an authorized leave from your studies, or you're switching schools and you're not studying, you can't work off campus. You cannot work off campus. You can only return to work once you're back to studying. I see people take authorized leave every time. They tell the school they're broke or they are going through some kind of situations. They're not supposed to be working at that point, but they are working to pay for the term. Like you come into Canada, you can't afford to pay for your next term. You tell your school you need a break and they give you a break. You're not supposed to be working in that period. I did not make the rules. Canada made the rules. Please don't come for me. Then we go to the next topic. How many hours can you work off campus? During regular school term or semester, you can work up to 20 hours per week. Guys, 20 hours per week is in bold. Up to, not more than. It says up to 20 hours per week. So for all of the people asking me, you can only work up to 20 hours per week. You can work more than one job to make up these hours as long as you continue to meet the conditions of your study permit. So you can work more than one job. You can work 5 jobs as long as you're not working more than 20 hours a week. I mean, having 5 jobs is not really sustainable. Try to get one employer to give you that 20 hours, okay? During scheduled breaks in school year, You can work full-time if you're on a scheduled break, such as winter and summer holidays or fall or spring reading week. You are free to work overtime or work 2 part-time jobs that add up to a higher than usual number of hours. You must be a full-time student both before and after the break to work full-time. You can't work during a break that comes before you start your very first school semester. Okay, that's pretty explanatory, but I'm gonna say it. When you have breaks, for example, if you're studying fall and winter and then you have a summer break, that 4 months, my guys, you can work long. I know my first week in my summer break, I worked 51 hours. I wanted to die. If you have a summer break, that is time for you to get your grind on. Work long hours. During reading term, you can work full-time. You can work full-time as long as school is not happening at that point. So you must be a full-time student before and after the work. So it doesn't count that you came into Canada a month early and you want to work. No, you can't do that because you're not yet registered into school by that point. Okay, so let's get into it. How many hours count as full-time work? There is no set number of hours per week that counts as full-time work. However, your employers must follow provincial laws on overtime pay and time between shifts. You know, I told you. Usually people will say full-time work is between 35 hours and 40 hours, but there's no set hours. I said before, I worked 51 hours in my first week of work for my summer break. I worked home care, right? 12-hour shift 4, and then a random 3-hour shift to make it 51. So that's the best time for you to work and rack up your coins, not during school, during holidays. Next one is if your program doesn't have scheduled break, you can work up to 20 hours per week. So if your program does not have scheduled break, I know some people whose program runs from fall, winter, summer 1, summer 2, no scheduled break, September to August, every time. So in that period, you can only work 20 hours per week. But when you have reading week in fall, you can run 40 hours or how many hours you want to work. When you have reading week in winter, run that hours. When you have holidays between those terms too, for example, I know usually when the semester is from January to April, you would have a break before the next semester starts in May. See that little 2 weeks period, run long hours. But once school starts, 20 hours per week. This one is in, you know, that danger thing with exclamation mark. That's what they did this one. Working more than 20 hours per week is a violation of your study permit conditions. You can lose your student status for doing this and may not be approved for a study or work permit in the future. You may also have to leave the country. If you work more than 20 hours per week, you can lose your status. They might not renew for you, and the worst of them all, they can literally tell you to pack your bags and go, and I know you don't want that to happen to you. And one question that someone has asked me is, how will they know? See, Canada is Canada. They know everything. You need your social insurance to work, right? So everything gets reported to the government at the end of the day. They may not catch you when you're renewing your study permit. They may not catch you when you're renewing your work permit. Heck, they may never even catch you. But you don't want to be that one person out of 500 people that they catch. We don't want it to be that you are the scapegoat. So it's best, that is how I operate my life. It's best to follow rules. It's best to just go by the rules and make sure everything is fine, so you're minimizing the risk of you having immigration issues. See, you may have gotten your work permit. You may have gotten your PR. It might be when you're applying for citizenship that they will catch you. Imagine all of that years that you've wasted. You want to follow the rules. Rules exist for a reason. Yeah, I know people are cash strapped. I know schools are expensive. But then that's why you always need to have a plan. It doesn't make sense for you to come to this country without a plan. It's good for you to have a plan. If it's even to take summer off, not register for a program in summer. For example, my master's degree that I did, I know people who did it in 1 year. They did four courses in fall, 4 courses in winter, 1 course in summer 1 and 1 course in summer 2, and they finished within 1 year. And there are other people who did 3 courses in fall, 3 courses in winter, took summer off, 3 courses in the next year fall and 1 course in winter. See, those people, those second set of people, they had summer all to themselves. So what they were able to do at that point was work hours in the summer to save up for the next year. That's the best way. Do not fall into the trap of working more than 20 hours per week. They can catch you and it can lead to you losing your status in Canada and being asked to go back home. So this one is how to calculate your hours. You are responsible for both of the following: keeping track of your hours that you work off campus. Hours are defined as any time you spend earning wages or collecting a commission, even if you're on call during these hours and not actually working. Providing that you are complying with the conditions of your study permit. To do this, you must show that you are actively pursuing a degree, not working more than 20 hours per week, and meeting any other conditions listed on your study permit. There's a segment for self-employed students. I'm not going to read that. There's a segment here that says who cannot work off campus. You cannot work off campus without a work permit if any of these situations apply to you. Your study permit says you aren't authorized to work off campus while you study. You're only enrolled in an English or French as a second language program. You're only taking general interest courses. You're only taking courses required to be accepted into a full program. So you're taking prerequisites and you've not started your full program. Canada says no. Your situation changes and you no longer meet the requirement to work off campus. When your situation changes and maybe you're not taking prerequisite anymore, you're not taking English as a second language anymore, you can send them your documents and then they will give you a work permit to start working. So that's basically it. There are more information on this. I'm gonna leave the link, like I said, so you can read it by yourself. But this is just for off campus, guys. The saving grace is you can work unlimited hours on campus. You see that library, that research assistant job, that teaching assistant job, anything that is owned by the institution or within the institution, you can work full-time, no limit to hours on campus. That's the best way. When people tell me that, oh, Fola, the problem is if I work off campus 20 hours per week, I can afford to pay my next tuition for the next semester. But I tell them, see, girl, I understand where you're coming from, but you don't want to break the rules. The only thing you can do at this point is go for a job in school. I know it's a bit harder now since people are studying from home. School is not really open, but I guess from September schools will start opening up. Your best bet is for you to go look for a job in school. Keep your 20 hours per week. You know, you guys know my story. I work on an average maybe 17 hours off campus. But on campus, I had a teaching assistant job, a research assistant job, I have a marketing job. I was making my money in school. So cumulatively, the money I made in school and the money I made off campus, I mean, it was extra money for me. Think about it this way. I was telling somebody recently, she was like, that's because you're academic, you can do a research job. You can like, see, you don't have to do a research assistant job. Tell them you want to roll in the library. Tell them you want to be in the kitchen. Apply to manage their social media or something. You don't always have to write papers. You don't have to do research. If you really need the money, you have to be able to work for it. It is better for you to do things and learn on the job than to break the law. So my advice for anyone in a tight position that they feel like their 20 hours per week job cannot pay their tuition and their cost of living is to get a job on campus. Get a library job on campus. Stock library books. Get a job in the bookshop, get a job in the kitchen, get a research job, get a teaching assistant job. That's gonna help you with saving more and having more money than just working 20 hours per week or even thinking of doing illegal work and working more than 20 hours per week. I hope I was able to explain to you guys a little bit more and maybe break it down a little bit more to just understand that it's not worth breaking the rules because it can come back to bite you in the bum. There are better ways for you to do it. I'm gonna do more videos answering some of these questions that I've gotten. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope I didn't sound really weird in this video. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.